Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about President Joe Biden because, well, his presidency's in a lot of trouble if we're being honest. Now, one thing I've been oftentimes credited with here on the channel from my audience and from people who've watched my videos is the fact that I try to remain as objective as possible. I don't try to let any political biases show in my content, because personally my opinion is it's not really my place as a creator slash influencer to tell you how to feel. You should be able to do your own research, look into things for yourself, and determine whether or not you think something of something, right? I shouldn't have to be the one to tell you what to believe about the president or anything like that because, well, as an American citizen, it's your job to be informed, it's your job to know what's going on, but objectively, things are not looking the best for Joe Biden's presidency. His approval rating actually just broke a new low. It's getting down to historically bad levels, and of course, we as Americans are facing a multitude of different crises that are going on, basically, and they all seem to really be taking a pretty huge hit for Joe Biden's legacy and for his presidency. You got to keep in mind that in less than 2 years, we will be voting for president again. 2024 is not that far away. We're already almost halfway through 2022. In about 10 months or less even, we're going to start seeing political ads again. We're going to start seeing, the presidential ads and the signs getting put up in yards and the initial kind of debates and everything going on between all the different presidential candidates and things like that. We're really not that far off from the next presidency and from the next election. So it's about that time to really start thinking about whether or not you want to vote for Joe Biden for re-election or whether or not you want to vote for a different candidate. I think Donald Trump might run again. I'm not 100% sure on that, but there's been like rumors that he will. Of course, there will be dozens of other candidates from all the different political parties and stuff like that that you can choose from as well. But as an American, I think it's important that we talk about what's going on in our country right now and talk about the president of the United States, who, like I said, is not really looking the best right now. He's got a pretty bad approval rating. The vast majority of Americans think the country is heading in the wrong direction at this moment. We're dealing with skyrocketing gas prices and inflation that's causing even grocery prices and airline tickets and all kinds of things that we need to skyrocket in price. Our country's wrapped up as one of the main contributors to the Russo-Ukrainian war unfolding right now. We actually just signed a $40 billion aid package for Ukraine in South Korea. Biden just signed that and sent that off. So yeah, we've been funding that war and we're pretty much involved because of all the sanctions and everything too. And you gotta think, these are all things that are definitely going to be on the chopping block when it comes time to vote for president again. When we as a country come together and we decide to vote in the next person for office, whether or not it's Joe Biden, this is the mess that they're going to inherit. This is what they're going to be dealing with. They're going to be working to get inflation under control again and to hopefully see an end to the Ukrainian war and to get gas prices and food and everything under control again and get people hopefully back on the right track of mind for this country. As an American, I am extremely displeased with how our country's operating right now, with everything that's going on. I'm a young adult, right? I live on my own. It's just me and my girlfriend and everything, and it's been a lot harder recently because in our country, we've been dealing with massive amounts of inflation. Like I said, grocery prices and everything have been going up. I was just out driving today. Gas is $4.50 right now. The only other time I've seen it that high or even that close to being that high in my lifetime was during like the 2008 financial crisis. I was like actually stunned that gas was that high. It's ridiculous, man. And I know a lot of people, the good thing for me is obviously I don't really have to drive for work. I mean, I can just work from home because I do YouTube, but I genuinely feel so terrible for everybody who has to drive themselves to work with the gas prices going on right now. I mean, it's crazy to think that people are really having to pay that much for gas just to go to work or to take their kids to school or to go to the grocery store and spend even more money than they already would have in like a normal economy. And the sad thing about it is these things don't look like they're coming to a top soon, right? It doesn't look like everything's going to clear out in the next few months. In fact, it looks like we might actually be looking at another recession if things go wrong. We're in a pretty vulnerable position right now. I mean, we're just now getting out of the pandemic and everything. The world's getting back to normal, and of course, things have gone to shit. And Joe Biden's legacy is taking a pretty massive hit because of it. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and read this from the Associated Press and talk about Joe Biden's approval rating because I think that it really speaks volumes about what people in this country think right now. So President Joe Biden's approval rating dipped to the lowest point of his presidency in May, a new poll shows, with deepening pessimism emerging among members of his own Democratic Party. Only 39% of US adults approve of Biden's performance as president, according to the poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Research, dipping from already negative ratings a month earlier. Overall, only about 2 in 10 adults say the US is heading in the right direction or the economy is good, both down from about 3 in 10 a month earlier. Those drops were concentrated among Democrats, with just 33% within the president's party saying the country's headed in the right direction, down from 49% in April. Of particular concern for Biden ahead of the midterm elections, his approval among Democrats stands at 73%, a substantial drop since earlier in his presidency. In AP NORC polls conducted in 2021, Biden's approval rating among Democrats never dropped below 82%. So this isn't even like a political thing, right? This is just the fact of the matter being Americans are disappointed with how our country's operating right now. You have 2 in 10 people saying that the US is headed in the right direction. That is 20%, and it was down from 30%, which is still pretty insane. That's still not good numbers, you know what I mean? Hopefully you would think the majority of Americans should think the country's headed in the right direction. I'm looking at numbers, hopefully like 6 or 7 out of 10 Americans are positive about where we're going, but not even a quarter of Americans think we're doing good right now. That is not a good idea. That is not good at all. So obviously US adults are the people who vote, so their opinion really matters in this kind of thing because, well, if they don't think the country's headed in the right direction, especially under a president like Joe Biden, that can have pretty big impacts on whether or not he gets reelected. Now keep in mind, this year is an election year. We do have the midterms coming up. People have been talking about, the Republicans are going to sweep and everything. As of right now, the Democrats really kind of control government, but they've had a lot of massive policy failures. They failed to get a lot of the things done that they promised they'd get done, and the American people are getting frustrated with it, you know what I mean? One of Biden's big policies when he was running was that he would cancel student debt loans and things like that. Obviously, haven't really seen any of that go down. And the economy is notably worse. The economy has struggled over the last few months, and it's going to continue to struggle and get worse over the next few months. So there's just a lot of problems going on, and Joe Biden's legacy as a president is really at risk here because the first 2 years of his presidency so far have been filled with the economy getting worse, have been filled with wars breaking out in Europe and stuff like that. And ultimately he's not really in control of what happens in Ukraine, but at the end of the day, there's been a lot of failures by this administration. There's been catastrophic failures and there's been minor failures. Now keep in mind, every administration has their problems. The Trump presidency had its issues, the Obama presidency had its issues, the Bush presidency had its problems. They all do. But Americans are not currently optimistic about the direction of this country, and that's not good. We're supposed to be united as one, right? But yet, we're obviously more divided than we've ever been. Americans, don't look at each other the same anymore. Is it because of all these stressing factors and all these issues going on that have, really kind of put a big mark on Joe Biden's presidency? It may contribute, it might have a part to do with it, but ultimately I think this has been the direction our country's been heading in for a long time. I don't think this is anything new. I don't think that we've, just magically fallen into this pit trap or anything like that. We've been heading in this direction pretty much my entire life as somebody who, has basically lived through the 21st century in a post 9/11 society. We've just not been heading in the right direction. And if Joe Biden and his administration don't get it together soon, not only do they not really have to worry about re-election, but they may have to worry about Republicans genuinely taking back some of those Senate and those House seats and getting control over the lawmaking branch of the country again. And obviously Democrats, they've been saying, oh, vote blue, don't vote for Republicans. But yet they're not giving anybody a reason to vote for them. They're failing a lot of their massive policies. The economy's not doing too hot. And at the top of it all, we have Joe Biden, who, regardless of political bias, I think we can all agree, this guy can't get a full fucking sentence out without messing it up. He doesn't even remember where he is half the time, and he's doing nothing to really address these issues and to make them any better, and it's really starting to show in his approval rating and what people view of the country. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. We have a bunch of stuff for you to take a look at down there. If you really enjoy the content here on the channel, I really recommend that you do go check it out. We have new releases, plus all the stuff we've had before. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, talking about Biden's presidency and signing out.